gods send us labors, and the promise of favor, riches and glory, but only for those who can earn it.
KHOLEK has long been the measuring stick by which we measure melee powerhouse lords, so now we got him facing off against TAUROX, this one from ODM Loopy. He's facing off against Kalarman once again, and yeah, we've got two melee powerhouse lords facing off for the pleasure of the ruinous powers, the Dark Gods. Marauder Horsemen up front, skirmishing initially with some Centaurs and Throwing Axes. We've got 5 Chaos Marauders, Metal Sorcerer, and 3 Dragon Ogres. Very interesting pick. I have done a video about Dragon Ogres. I do think they're a fairly underrated unit. It's a pretty decent matchup for them as well now, I think. That elite anti-large status. I've also got, yeah, some regular Centaurs on the Beastmen side. Of course, TAUROX, the Blood Brute Behemoth. We've also got a Bray Shaman Lord Beast on the OP Chariot. And just a few Ungor Spearmen herd to round things out. Fairly small on model count Beastmen army, but look at this balance of power, as actually both armies are literally almost identical, within 10 models of each other starting model count. Gonna have a flank attack from these Centaurs, quick hit and run, don't even barely make contact. But the Dragon Ogres immediately screening them out. Dragon Ogres are kind of like monstrous cavalry, generally very good. Their charge bonus and weapon strength aren't amazing, but 40 melee defense and 60 armor, it's pretty decent. Also much faster than something like Minotaurs, but got a nice final transmutation hitting this pocket of single entities here. Looks like the Bray Shaman is able to avoid that damage, but it does hit TAUROX and the Blood Brute Behemoth, and TAUROX immediately gets surrounded by the Dragon Ogres, which is not an ideal situation for him. Obviously, he's getting knocked around a lot. He's dishing out some serious pain, as is the Blood Brute on one of these units of Dragon Ogres, but they're also taking some damage. In the meantime, we've got KHOLEK over here just disrupting the Centaurs. A beautifully placed lightning strike just lights up the day. I was going to say the night, but it is, in fact, it's like sunset right now, I think. Anyway, the Dragon Ogres also come over with the Marauder Horsemen, so Centaur is definitely having a really bad time, although KHOLEK is getting hit up by these Throwing Axes in the meantime. All Dragon Ogre type units do have, I think, 30% missile resistance from Scaly Skin. Let's see, as this unit of Dragon Ogres gets rounded off by some Ungor Spearmen herd, very cost effective from them. Okay, 25%. I was going to say, I think it's 30, but it looks like they changed it at some point. These ones get terrified away as well, and now we've got the clash of champions. Blood Brute Behemoth going up against KHOLEK here, with the supporting Dragon Ogres kind of screening out TAUROX, acting as, you know, bouncers, wingmen for KHOLEK, very appropriately. Eventually he is going to get through, though, get a nice rolling attack on KHOLEK, so we'll keep the health bars up now as the clash of titans goes down. But the thing is, in this type of a situation, you know, usually 2v1 single entity fight wins, but the supporting elements are all in Chaos favor right now. The Warriors of Chaos, I mean, everything's in Chaos favor, but the Warriors of Chaos favor, in KHOLEK's favor, right? The decisive final transmutation here, along with the infantry and Dragon Ogres also absorbing hits, distracting, and also giving extra hits in the side and rear cones, you know, bypassing a portion of the melee defense depending on where they're at, allowing KHOLEK to just shine here. And immediately you can see, as the sort of leadership units take damage, the balance of power is going to shift. Yeah, I mean, losing the Blood Brute Behemoth is a significant amount of value already. The Centaurs are doing a good job, though, cleaning up all these light Marauder units. Ungor Spearmen herd are also decisively better support infantry in this type of a situation, even though they're not going to beat Marauders directly. The anti-large, as we saw, helps them trade, but yeah, TAUROX just straight up getting killed by Dragon Ogres here. KHOLEK and his posse riding off into the sunset victoriously. Not quite victorious yet, to be honest, but remains to be seen. I mean, there is still this OP caster chariot on the field, right? Somewhere, I believe. Maybe. We'll see him, I'm sure. Yeah, we've still got... Oh, no, he's actually dead. Okay. Throwing axes, I guess we'll have to carry the rest of this. And, you know, if they could get rid of all of the Marauder infantry and just have free firing lanes, they have quite a bit of ammunition left. So they could probably finish off KHOLEK, but right now I think they're left on fire at will. Or regardless, they're choosing to. Sometimes it can just be a little bit buggy with attack orders and everything. They'll, like, continue to throw axes when they shouldn't. But, like, this is great. Get a quick charge in here, try and break these Marauders, but... Given that, you know, the Beastmen army's fairly tattered, balance power is still close enough that it's doable. It's not like they're in danger of hitting critical army losses anytime soon. So as this kind of kite engagement plays out, we are going to fast forward a little bit. Nice hit-and-run attacks from the Centaurs. Anytime KHOLEK comes into range, they're going to want to throw their axes. But the one thing about Centaurs with throwing axes, if they lose too many models, they won't have enough ammunition to get the work done. And the missile resistance of... you know, KHOLEK and these other units also plays a part of that. Again, throwing axes at the Marauders only plays into the Warriors of Chaos' favor here. You really want to preserve all of that ammunition for these Dragon Ogres. This unit of Dragon Ogres also very dangerous. Still full 12 unit models. They're not, I mean, because of their kind of dodging here, they're not a single entity, right? So they're not all going to get hit pretty much on the volley. It's a more an ideal situation, and just in general... As these support units start to fade away and Loopy's not quite able to clean up all the Marauders, like there's just too many Marauders here to effectively cycle charge out with all of the Centaurs. I mean, if they were a little bit more broken up here, perhaps, but another beautifully placed lightning strike actually prevents that Marauder from getting routed and sort of forces the Centaurs of throwing axes away. It is very close, no doubt. Loopy's fighting tooth and claw and hoof. Try and get back in here, and like he's doing a good job, like shattering this unit here, shattering that unit most likely, getting this other Centaur throwing axe back. So we'll continue to fast forward here. Nice hit and run attacks on the Marauders there, but at the end of the day, just wasting too much ammunition most likely on these Marauders. We'll see, but I mean these Dragon Ogres still 12 unit models, basically untouched from where we were at earlier in the battle, and you can see the ammo counts starting to drop for those Centaurs, and as they start to drop, the balance of power starts to go against them as well, as the balance of power begins to agree, like, hey, you might not have enough ammunition to actually finish this thing off, and it is going to be very close. You can see this sort of surround is very ideal, and they do start to take damage. I mean, the Dragon Ogres and KHOLEK are certainly taking damage here, but just the ammo count's not quite there to be able to finish things. And, I mean, the rear charges from the Centaurs with perfect vigor, especially the Gorog Hooves, call them Gorog Hooves. I might still just continue to call them Gorog Hooves because it sounds hilarious, but they come in here with their perfect vigor. They actually do get a really good engagement on these Dragon Ogres if they're able to break them. But no, there's one more pocket final transmutation that is going to finish things, especially just hitting the Gorog Hooves alone should be enough to just finish off the Beastmen in terms of balance of power. And maybe not, you know, it does a fairly solid amount of damage, but a few attacks also from KHOLEK. They get terrified away, and just the army losses situation. And you see why, even just with a little bit of extra ammo, I do think that the Centaurs probably pull out the win here. I mean, it's very, very close, and just a few of those volleys that ended up going into the Marauders. I mean, it's easy for me to say that having not played in the battle myself. Obviously, both of these players played very well, but just those seemingly very minor mistakes in a very close battle like this can prove decisive. We'll see, though. I mean, there's still Centaurs fighting. Will KHOLEK actually lose to these Centaurs in melee is the question. I mean, the charge bonus here and the perfect vigor, as long as they're not wavering, right, they get that perfect vigor. And I guess it refreshes their vigor even when they stop wavering. So we'll see. I mean, I've called this early a few times, but it may still come back in the Beastmen's favor. They're going to finish off the caster there. KHOLEK, though, as a result, is able to kind of get an engagement on the whole blob at once. Weird splash attack there. Goes on the wrong target. Will KHOLEK actually get routed here? Standard dies pop to buff his leadership, and his melee defense goes up to 70 melee defense, and there's no way. I mean, on the rear charge, this unit of Centaurs will get a little bit of damage. The Gorog Hooves will get a little bit of damage, but no. The terror takes hold. Melee defense buff is too much. And that should be game. Grog Hooves are going to continue fighting. But at this point, they can't concentrate forces effectively, and that is it. So very, very good game. Super awesome close game. Big thanks to Loopy for sending that one in. People don't often send in losses, but that was epic defeat, I have to say. And the Blood Gods, the Chaos Gods, rather, the Blood God especially, no doubt, quite pleased with this result. But anyway, yeah, TAUROX, or maybe not, because I guess TAUROX is Korn's favorite, right, in terms of Beastmen. Blood Brute Behemoth also, you know, the blood. Anyway, does some pretty good damage value. TAUROX also, pretty decent stuff, but KHOLEK and the supporting Dragon Ogres, man, 3,200 damage value on KHOLEK. It's been a while since I've seen a proper KHOLEK carry game, so that's awesome. Dragon Ogres also, 2,000 damage value on the one that lasted until late game. And that goes to show, I mean, Dragon Ogres, in the right situation, a very strong unit. They're not great all around, but Marauder Horsemen also that last into the late game, super good value. The supporting infantry, I mean, less of it on the Beastmen side, just more of a mobile build. And it almost ended up working out. All the Marauders, or sorry, the Centaurs with throwing axes, huge value, like almost 2,000 value on one of them. Definitely very strong in this matchup, but I almost wonder maybe you cut these Centaurs and go with some more Hounds, so you have slightly more numbers to try and chase stuff off here. Yeah, like maybe even cut one of the Centaurs, regular Centaurs. I don't know, I'd have to kind of play around with it a little bit and see, but just somehow include like 2 or 3 extra Hounds here. And then you can just chase some of those units off that ended up coming back and kind of making it a little bit of a difference. But anyway, very, very fun stuff. Yeah, between who's the better lord, I still think KHOLEK all around is like the yardstick, but in terms of monstrous infantry lords, TAUROX definitely has a lot going for him. Just overall a super strong brawler lord. I would say KHOLEK's more of a monster killer in that way. He's more of the, what you would call a world beater, I guess, in that he fights like top tier monsters, but TAUROX more of a generalist. He will do much better against infantry type characters, although the HP pool difference is pretty significant. And again, doesn't cause terror. KHOLEK is a lot bigger of a target, but he's got the missile resistance as well. It doesn't have the damage resistance ability of Brass Body, and it does kind of show, I mean, some people might say power creep, but given everything, I mean, KHOLEK's still a ridiculously strong character and has been for a long, long time. He doesn't have as much fancy stuff going on. That's true of Warriors of Chaos in general, but they're still solidly reliable. And in the heavy infantry meta, I mean, they have some of the best heavy infantry in the game, right? That's kind of their defining feature, is very cost-effective, very good heavy infantry. That's besides the point. But anyway, yeah, fun battle. I don't really have much more else to add at this point. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button every time I upload a new video. You'll be notified. Thank you once again. See you next time.